views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
This show's audio was via a Skype call.
Get ready to enjoy the fullest version of yourself because SourceLight Radio, high frequency healing for an amazing life with Laura Barton starts now. Learn about a unique spectrum of energy called SourceLight integration and how to elevate your vibrational aspect. Follow along as host Laura Barton explores reconnecting into the universal grid and bringing about physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual balance. SourceLight Radio, high-frequency healing for an amazing life.
Wow, everybody. Hey, guess what? I am so thrilled. SourceLight Radio with Laura Barton. This is about high frequency healing for an amazing life. Today, I love this topic. I love what Laura picked. Moving into the fullness of yourself and stepping into your mission. So let me just tell you a little bit about Laura, and you're going to hear a lot more about Laura throughout the show. You know, somebody that is out in the world helping all of us completely understand not just the message of healing, but the results that happen when we step in to the frequency of healing. And we're not really putting a cap on what that means. Many of us have had things happen to us throughout our lives. We accumulate them, we put them in our cellular energy, we have past lives perhaps that we look at, and the bottom line is we get out of balance emotionally, spiritually, physically, and mentally. Today, you're going to hear not only about what Laura brings to the forefront to help all of us live into, step into, and be in our fullness, but how do we do that in today's world? Laura, whoa. Who doesn't want to do that?
Everybody I know is moving towards it rapidly and has a lot of questions. And so when I was thinking about this month's show, that's what Spirit guided me to talk with everyone about. Thank you, Pat.
Well, I just looked at and did a short interview talking about women in particular and how they're stepping out into the business world and also how unprepared we can be. And one of the things we did not talk about is unprepared for the energy of stepping into your mission. So let's talk a little bit about you, who you are, and what SourceLight Integrations is all about, because part of this is, and how it came to be, has to do with the fullness of yourself and stepping into your mission.
Absolutely, it does. It did, and it is. I grew up in a very rural area and, never really seemed to, I never felt fully accepted because I was always a little bit different. And I tried to fit in. I tried to shift myself into the construct of a very patriarchal, rigid environment. And you know what? It doesn't work. Oh my God. I tried for decades, as traditional as it gets, as conservative as it gets. And I was like the pendulum. I swung to one side of the extreme and then back to the other side of the extreme until slowly, gradually, and with a lot of challenges, I hit that center point of balance. And it didn't matter where I lived, what I did professionally, or what I chose for my personal activities. There was this huge pendulum swing that was actually pretty damn painful a lot of the time because I wasn't willing just to be me,
Yeah.
just to accept the gifts that I was given, Pat, and stand in the truth of that. I was always trying to fit in. We can't do that. It didn't work then. It doesn't work now. And many people, especially women, are coming to the realization that we are powerful beings, that we have so much to offer, and that, there's some steps we can take in our lives. The first one being, we have to acknowledge who we are.
Yeah.
With me, I like I said, I played along with it for a long time. And then finally, when I had some very dramatic personal experiences in late 2011, I chose to fully step into my energy body and the fact that we can heal each other and ourselves by embracing the fact that we are energetic bodies first and foremost, and working with the emotional aspect of who we are so that we don't eventually come out of balance in the physical aspect.
Mm-hmm. One of the things that I love is that, on the heels of a conversation with one of our largest financial institutes a few minutes ago, we are looking at the acceleration of so many things like you pointed out. But we are stepping out into the world now, and we're stepping out very, very fully. One of the things that happens when we step out, as you alluded to, is we don't even understand the energy of that, Laura. I mean, it's like we know where we want to go, but we don't know who we really are. And I'll tell you, if you step out, you get to meet yourself.
That couldn't have been more eloquently put, honestly.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, when we embrace who we are, and no matter what comes along, stand solid in that knowingness, everything else will fall into a place of magnificence that we can't even imagine. And it's a process. We've been programmed to be less than, and I'm not talking just about women. I'm talking about humanity overall. And it's only by releasing those blocks that have been placed on us generationally in our society, in our schools, and, in our religious programming, are we able, just by releasing that, we're able to see the true path, the wholeness of our being, how we are all connected in spirit, energetically, throughout the whole expanse of time. This is a collective effort. And by raising the awareness that we're more than just, the soles of our feet to the tops of our head, that we're large and bright and beautiful and powerful, no matter what our gender is or our affiliation with that, that's when we can embrace just the beingness that is our true nature. And the shifts that are coming across through all the aspects of our society right now are huge. It's shaken up the whole paradigm. And it's allowing people to ask the questions, to acknowledge the answers, and come to the acceptance of that fullness so that we can all move forward. We're all on the same path. We're just in different places on it. That's all.
Here's the question. All of us look at our lives, and we look at and we face ourselves in the mirror more than once. Honestly, we do. Sometimes we want to know, other times we don't want to know. But in the end, our soul is really calling us forward. How did you discover who Laura is?
Well, I had 3 deaths in my family in late 2011. And I was totally spun out. I was trying to maintain the life that I had before with these people in it, and now they weren't there. My financial support wasn't there. My emotional support, my spiritual support was pretty dicey, and I had to really get on my knees and ask, what am I supposed to do now? And I was guided to go on a spiritual journey, a road trip, literally. And I went thousands of miles, land, air, ended up in Sedona, experiencing a number of different types of healing. And most of them I'd experienced before. But at one point, I was able to experience a form of energy work that really made a difference in my life. And I knew that was what I was supposed to move into next, that was a big part, a huge component of what I was going to do to step into myself, to move forward and to bring forward with others and in others. And so I did it. And even after transitioning myself that way, I was still living in a very conservative area. And I was like one step in, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 2 feet in, 3 steps back and forth, back and forth. Remember the pendulum swing I talked about earlier? Yeah. Exactly. And it wasn't until I finally just said, okay, I am me. This is who I am. It doesn't matter where I came from, what I was doing. This is now. And I embraced the being that I had become, this person that is able to access an incredible bandwidth, a new spectrum of energy, light, and frequency, and help others by directing it into their energy field to release their blocks, whether it's physical, emotional, mental, or spiritual, whether I'm driving down the freeway, just literally accessing and directing it into the atmosphere and environment around me, or whether I'm working with an animal that I notice in distress. It could be my pet, it could be somebody else's pet, it could be something injured alongside the road. Just stepping into the fullness of my being as someone that can do that no matter what the circumstances. That's not easy.
No, it's not. And, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what's not easy. We're going to talk about what happens when you realize that there is a mission for you and you're not on it now. What happens? Is it painful? Is it provocative? Is it awakening? Is it all of the above? And then what do? We're going to talk about what happens when you do decide to take that step, what you face, what gets revealed, what are the challenges, and then, most importantly, what Laura has discovered you can do to clear the pathway for smooth sailing. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
If you're dealing with fear and anxiety, you've probably noticed that the more you fight these emotions, the stronger they seem to get. Dr. Friedemann Schaub, the author of The Fear and Anxiety Solution, explains that instead of suppressing, we need to identify and resolve the deeper, subconscious root causes of fear and anxiety. His personal breakthrough program has helped thousands worldwide to overcome their emotional challenges. To learn more, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com and schedule your free consultation with Dr. Schaub now.
Choose the new earth on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio as Cornelia takes listeners on an odyssey of higher consciousness to inspire, educate, and empower. Cornelia guides people on the path of self-healing, peace, and liberation. The Cornelia Stephanie Show is your catalyst for anchoring heaven on earth on a global scale. For more information, go to corneliastephanie.com.
Wow. Hey, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. This is Talk Radio to Thrive By. I'm telling you, I got to pinch myself some days because when each of us gets called to do something that we so not thought was in our wheelhouse to do for a purpose that's so much greater than us, we get to show up and shine.
If you would like to show up and shine on the Dr. Pat Show as a co-host or sponsor, send us an email to inspire@thedrpatshow.com.
Hey, everyone. You're listening to SourceLight Radio with me. I'm Dr. Pat, and with
Laura Barton.
Yeah.
Or I'm also known as Aya Anna.
Yes, and we're going to talk about that now, too. One of the things that is so difficult sometimes, Laura, is understanding who we are. I just said, hi, I'm Dr. Pat. That was not something I owned. That was not something I would even talk about. As a matter of fact, that was something that the listeners presented to me. But what happens, before we go to that, I would love folks to know, Laura, how they can find out, Laura, about you, how they can find out more about what you do, all your work, all of the above, and contact you as well.
Thanks, Pat. You know, I'm on Facebook at SourceLight Integrations, and my website is sourcelightintegrations.com. And I welcome opportunities to talk with people about what's going on in your life and how I might be able to help with that, what we can do together to bring you into that sense of fullness, that truth of being that you're moving towards, that you have questions about. So I encourage people so often just to, give me a call, reach out to me through my website, or send me a message on Facebook at SourceLight or sourcelightintegrations.com. My name.
Go ahead. No, go right ahead. I was just going to ask you.
Okay. My name, speaking of names, is Ayahana. It has always been that. In this time, I'm known as Laura Barton, and I'm comfortable being addressed either way. But as Ayahana, I am one of the original ones whose mission it is, plain and simple, to assist with the unfoldment of this planet and of the beings upon it. That means people, that means animals, that means our environment. And there's a number of ways that I serve with this huge sense of privilege to even be here now and allowed to assist with this. The challenges that we face throughout our society, turn on the news. You can watch all the fake news you want. You can go to the type of station that promotes the good things that are happening around us. Yet either way, it's met with challenges. We don't want to accept that it's that bad. We don't want to accept that that's that good. And we don't really know what we can do in our own little individual self to make it better. And I'm here to tell you that it is as simple as smiling at the person in the car next to you at the stoplight. It is as simple as complimenting the checker at the grocery store on her choice of clothes or jewelry that day. It is simple as honoring the fact that, oh my gosh, I'm tired. I think I'll take a nap. All of those ways are ways that you serve the greater good of us all. And it does not have to be tangible. In fact, most often it's not.
What we're also talking about is a level of awareness where we realize that there are other people in the world. And I want to get back to what you said, that if we each had our own planet, and I love talking about that, then there actually would be nothing for us to think about, because there's nothing, no other being that we get to bump up against and compare. Certainly, we have the planet and the elements of the planet, but there's no reflection. We live in a world of reflection. And I think that you're right. I think we have never been as challenged as we are, even right now, this day, to figure out who the heck we are, in the world. And yet you said something. Sometimes we don't want to know.
I know that I chose to ignore a lot of the nudges I got along my path because I wasn't ready. I felt that I didn't have the tools. I felt that I didn't have the experience. I felt that I didn't have the wisdom. And so I attracted, with that mindset, those thoughts, I attracted all the things that would help me gain that. And it hurt a lot of the time. I attracted unhealthy relationships. I attracted unhealthy habits. I attracted uncomfortable employment situations. And each and every one of those and more helped me see the places that were uncomfortable, helped me experience the changes, move into the changes that I needed to make so that they were more comfortable, so that I was more well-rounded instead of out of balance. If you see someone at work, for example, that just doesn't seem to get it, I mean, no matter what you say or what you do or how good your work is or whatever, it's like, you know, a brick wall of any kind of things that just simply make you uncomfortable. That is what you need to recognize and look at as being inside you, as mirroring back to you that piece that you need to work on. If you see someone in your environment that is aggressive, it's triggering, and as that, just noticing that is actually triggering a feeling of your own aggressiveness, no matter how deep it may be hidden within inside. And once you look at these interactions that way, as, okay, I'm triggered, so what is it within me that's responding to that? Then you have an opportunity to accept it and move beyond it. But until you recognize it within yourself, have that willingness to understand that that's something that you're dealing with on some level deep inside, then you're never going to fully embrace it to transmute it. You have to acknowledge that that is a part of what your experience is, or you wouldn't be able to recognize it in another. In a group I attended for years, there was a saying, if you name it, you claim it, which meant simply that if you recognize something within someone else, it's something that's within you as well, whether it's a loving, beautiful aspect or one of those that's less comfortable. So you need to do a little work on, do a little clearing on, transmute it into the lovingness that it truly is ready for, and step into that part of yourself, embracing it. It's not easy. It's a big mental shift. We're programmed to look at something in judgment and often be critical of it instead of looking at it and recognizing it as something that we need to work on within. Wouldn't you say that's true, Pat?
I would say that the problem we have by not looking within is that the fact that we're not looking, it doesn't alter our longing to be forward in the world, to live our mission. See, by not looking, at least for me, by not looking, it did not dismiss, my soul's need to say, look, you have to figure out who you are. You have to figure out who you are and who you're meant to be. And so, don't you think that the choice we have is to continue along the way we're continuing, which could be quite painful, Laura, if we don't acknowledge ourselves in the world and we don't look ourselves right now. At least my experience was I was dying on the inside, right? And I didn't have these gentle nudges by the energy of the universe. I didn't have that. Yeah. I had suicides in my family. I had addictions in my family. I had job loss in my family after a long period of time. I had betrayal before I was willing to stop and say, wait a minute, I'm an active player. I got to look here and find out what the heck I'm meant to do. See, isn't that the call to action when things truly get uncomfortable sometimes?
Absolutely. And the more that we ignore the nudges, the more dramatic the changes or the experiences, are that come into our awareness so that they can be changed. Many of us are familiar with the term rock bottom. Hey, we don't have to go clear to rock bottom, but that's the way that more often than not, we've been programmed to think, that we can just keep bowling our way through it, and keep doing things our way without realizing that we can learn our lessons with much more grace and ease than having everybody, your most important support system in your family all die within a couple months, without having to get a DUI because you were trying to, work through some things in maybe not the most healthy or legally appropriate ways. We all have different paths we take, and the lessons that come to us to help us move beyond where we're stuck just get more challenging, difficult, and painful the more we choose to stay in that place of we know what we're doing and not accept that there's more to it than that, right?
Yeah. So let's do this, because this is it. When we come back, we're going to talk about where do we go from here? How do we move beyond our challenges? And as Laura has said, step into the fullness of ourselves, identify our mission, activate it, and open up the pathway for an amazing future. We'll be right back, folks, with SourceLight Radio, Laura Barton, myself, Dr. Pat. Yep, we are taking this on. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you your story? Or can you change your story? Can you change what you believe to be true about yourself and your circumstances as part of your healing journey? What if you were to change your expectations? What if you were to invite ease and cooperation into every day and then step back and see what happens? It might just be easier. I'm Megan Edge, and I hope that you'll join me on my new radio show, Playing on the Edge, Radical Change with Ease, with my co-host Dr. Pat on Transformation Talk Radio. I look forward to seeing you there.
Want to find out more about Megan Edge? Visit her website at meganedge.ca.
High-frequency healing for an amazing life with SourceLight Radio. Join host Laura Barton each month on Transformation Talk Radio as she explores SourceLight integration, a unique spectrum of energy, light, and frequency. Experience instantaneous healing and amazing shifts in consciousness with SourceLight Integrations Radio. For more information on Laura and her work, visit SourceLightIntegrations.com.
Hey, everybody, I'm Dr. Pat.
And I'm Ayahana.
And you're listening to SourceLight Radio. today we're talking about moving into the fullness of yourself and stepping into your mission. Before we talk about where we go from here and how to release barriers and energetic barriers as well, again, how can people find out more about you? How can they contact you? How can they work with you?
Well, Pat, I'm pretty easy to find. I really enjoy my Facebook page, SourceLight Integrations. I also have a group that you can join, the SourceLight Integrations group, with just a couple questions to make sure that we're a good fit. And the same goes with my website, SourceLightIntegrations.com. You can reach out to me through my website. You can schedule a 15-minute talk, but be prepared to go a little longer than 15 minutes. And, we can uncover what it is that we might be able to work on together, because it's not just about me being of assistance. We mirror one another and we're able to help each other grow. That's what it's all about.
Look, this is so important given the time we live in. This is so absolutely important. And one of the things that you help people with is moving beyond whatever that thing is that's holding them back. And so let's talk about those. There is release of energy, release of barriers with the purpose so that we can, one, identify where our strengths are, and two, look at what we're meant to do in this life, right?
Exactly. With my work with SourceLight Integrations, I access a very powerful spectrum of energy, light, and frequency and direct it into someone's energy field. And I can actually see blips of stuck energy leaving their body, whether it's, you're right here in my office, or you could be in Sydney, Australia, and I could be in Denver, Colorado. And when I access and direct this light into your energy body, anything that's stuck has to leave. It has to. It's like turning on a light switch in a darkened room. The darkness leaves. You can feel it. I can see it. And what that allows is space for your true self, for your own light to shine more fully. Because that's what we're here to do, is shine. We're here to step into the fullness of who we are so that we are helping one another. We're doing the repair that's necessary in our families, our workplaces, our communities, and the entire planet as a whole. And we can't do that without each other effectively. One person may have skills and abilities in one area and some stuck spots. Another person comes along and they've got skills and abilities in the opposite area, and they're not stuck in the places that the first person is. So by interacting, mirroring one another, and using each other as a resource, we can all move forward. And it's that way with humanity as a collective. There's no holds barred on this. None. There's no limits. There's no boundaries. We don't know yet where we can go with this because we're just coming into it. It's been an ongoing process for a while, and some people are more along the path than others. And that gives us that are an opportunity to help those that are coming into it, by clearing energy blocks, when we clear energy blocks, we're also clearing physical blocks, because everything begins in the energetic body first. And when people are moving forward in their lives in a greater sense of balance, a greater sense of wholeness and power and grace, everybody benefits. The ripple effect can't even be measured. You can just see it go throughout the family and the community and the state and it doesn't stop.
Yeah. What have you learned? I mean, this is a really important question. I know what I've learned in my lifetime when I was awakened to taking a certain direction and a certain action in my life. I had the awareness. I've often shared, Laura, that back in 1991, I think it was, I'm trying to remember now, worked in corporate. I was a corporate executive, pretty high up. My job was to implement downsizing. I was given insider information, and my boss asked me to fire a woman with 29 years and 11 months of service, so she would not get a pension and would not get benefits. And I went home that night, and I looked in the mirror, and something happened to me. I cannot explain it logically. I don't believe it was logical. I think it was spiritual. And my life changed. I went back into work. I didn't think about my action. I said, I'm not going to do it. Not only am I not going to do it, I'm not going to implement this downsizing. And out of my mouth came the words, take my head count instead. Now, mind you, I was 6 months away from a pension. But had I not done that, Laura, I would not be here today. I would not be talking with you. I would not be doing what I'm doing. So sometimes we don't know our future, do we? But almost always we got to clear a pathway so it gets revealed.
You're absolutely right. And very seldom is clearing that pathway comfortable. In fact, the more seemingly solid the pathway is that needs cleared, the more uncomfortable it is to step into the truth and do the clearing that's needed so you can move beyond, so that you can come to that sense of truth that your soul is longing for you to realize. In my life, I gave up an insurance agency. I had no choice but to step aside from anything to do with insurance, because after I went away from employee benefits, I tried to step back in several times. The first time, I had a job as a small group advisor and customer service rep for 5 months. I got a raise. The next week, I got fired. No explanation.
Right.
Boy, that wasn't comfortable, and it prompted a move, and it prompted a total restructuring. And then you know what? I still tried to go back into insurance, and it lasted 3 weeks. And that time I quit because it just, it didn't feel right. I mean, it felt really wrong. And so I sat there for a few weeks. And then what did I do? I decided to go back into insurance. And that time I lasted 5 days. Mm. So it was real clear to me that the path I was to go on had absolutely nothing to do with insurance, other than, to have an understanding of it for my personal use, but to fully embrace the work that I had been guided to do a couple years earlier, which is SourceLight integrations. In fact, I went to Sedona. After the third work experience, I came back and I was sitting at the kitchen table having a cup of coffee. And I thought, wow, they just told me in Sedona that I am directly accessing Source, that I need to completely rebrand from the group I trained with. And oh my gosh, how am I going to do that? I'm going to need a website. I'm going to need to do all this stuff. I don't even know what to call this. And I got up to go get another cup of coffee, and walking back across the kitchen floor, I'm going, what am I going to call this? And I heard this voice say, SourceLight integrations. And I stopped dead in my tracks, Pat. And I stood there for a second. I'm kind of looking around going, oh, okay, well, that's pretty heady. I don't know if I can do that. What if someone thought it was ego or? And I heard this kind of chuckle and like, SourceLight integrations. That is what this is. And that is what you're doing. So I stood there for another second, and I went and sat down at my laptop, and I thought, okay, so I need to find somebody to help me with a website. And those are the steps, that is the guidance that launched the full embodiment of the work that I'm doing. And I took the active steps. I left the fear. I left the concerns of financial solvency aside. And I stepped fully into the fact that this was bigger than what I'd been doing. This was more than maybe I was ready for, but totally confident that the resources would be brought into my path that I needed the most as divinely ordered. And I do mean as divinely ordered. We can't sit there and think we can do this all by ourselves. We have a team that is there to help us if we only just reach out and ask. I have a favorite phrase when someone says, well, how am I going to do this? I just look at them and say, hey, you know what? There's a lot of unemployed angels out there. All you need to do is ask with full sincerity, just ask. And the support comes into your awareness, into your physical self in ways that you can't even imagine. But if you're standing there just going, well, I got to do this and I got to do that, and oh my gosh, what if I can't? Then you're not going to allow the universe to step in and help you get to where you're destined to go. And you'll keep having those opportunities to allow that to happen, because there will be people, places, and things come into your life to help you release what you're holding on to. And the more firmly you are holding on to it, the more challenging the release will be. If you can just go with the flow and keep an open mind, then things just happen like magic. They just flow into your life. And that's what my work is about, is helping people release those emotional and mental and physical challenges so that they can step into the fullness of who they are. And finding out more about that is as simple as going to my website, SourceLightIntegrations.com, and sending me an email, or scheduling a 15-minute and allow a half an hour usually conversation about how I can help support you on your path. It's a win-win situation all the way around.
Oh my God. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, more about stepping into it. What does it mean? What is the bigger picture that we see? And then how can all of us look at our lives, step back, and then step forward? We'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
Are you done being afraid to jump into the life that's waiting for you? Are you ready for a real shift? I invite you to tune in every Tuesday with me, Tracy L., on the Tracy L. Clark Show, where we will teach you how to live your extraordinary life. At 8 a.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio, where I will provide the tools and the steps needed to help you transcend perceived limitations and move forward with an extraordinary life. For more information, visit me at tracylclark.com.
Is traditional medicine not working for you? Do you still feel as if your health isn't 100%? Here at the Holistic Medical Center, Dr. Nushin Darvish and the qualified staff look through the dimensions of wellness and start a healing plan prioritized to your needs. Our physicians assess the whole you until complete health is achieved. Get the help you need by visiting drdarvish.com or call 425-451-0404.
Living Lighter Radio with Jason and Patricia. We have an ecosystem approach to your life. Tune in weekly every Monday at 1 p.m. Pacific on Transformation Talk Radio as we, Jason and Patricia, discuss what's truly holding you back. We offer you the tools you need to reach your goals and at the same time be living lighter. For more information about Living Lighter, visit www.livinglighter.org.
Tune in to The Jen Royster Show, intuitive guidance to inspire your life, each Thursday at 8 a.m. Pacific and 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This amazing show is an inspirational hour that will take you on an epic metaphysical journey to discover the spiritual approach to life's greatest challenges. Dr. Jen is an internationally known intuitive counselor, spiritual teacher, and energy healer. Call in for intuitive readings and visit JenRoyster.com for more information.
Calling all moms, it's time to awaken your vibrant, intuitive, loving self in every area of your life. Join host Debbie Pokornik as she shares thoughts, stories, and tools to help you stand in your power. Listen to Vibrant, Powerful Moms helping everyday women create extraordinary lives. Mondays at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. For more information about Debbie, visit empoweringenergy.com. That's empowering with letters NRG.com.
Wow. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. This is such an important conversation because I think every day now we are being faced with the idea of asking ourselves who we are, what do we believe, and what do we want to do about it? and I think the last part of that, the what do we want to do about it part, can be extremely difficult, especially if we, one, are not aware of what gets in our ways, and number two, don't have a sense of doing anything about it. We don't necessarily know, can I move beyond my stuckness? Well, guess what? That's what Laura takes care of. Laura, look, we've talked about the work that you do here, and we've also talked about, what gets in the way. But, you're working with men and women every day. You're working with people every day who show up and say, I don't know why I can't move forward. Tell us, what the heck do we do?
Well, the first thing is to reach out and allow yourself to be helped. I mean, we get in this place of especially healers, we're powerful. We heal others. We've done a lot of work with ourselves. And then all of a sudden we realize that things aren't flowing well. That if we don't allow other people to help us, then not only are we disengaging, but we're not allowing the flow, the circle to be complete. It's all about balance. Earlier this summer, I met this beautiful being. She has taught at university on all sorts of subjects related to consciousness and healing, and she's very, very aware. And she wasn't healthy. And she and I spent some time talking, and I worked with her just briefly. And then recently, I was guided to her again. And yesterday, I went to her location and we were talking, and she's been having a tough time. And Spirit very clearly guided me to just offer her a session. And I did. And she expressed that as a healer herself, as a teacher of others, it's really, really hard to understand why she can't heal herself. She's confident that she could if. And her ifs were all about lack of being solid in herself. And I told her that it's hard when you're a healer to heal yourself because you're right in the middle of it. You're right in the middle of your own stuff. Sure, we can do it. But the reality of it is, if you want to move forward with the maximum amount of grace and ease, you have to allow the people to come forward that are waiting to. And we did the work right there on the spot. And she had such an incredible experience with releasing these stuck emotions in her emotional body, all related to the fact that she was a healer and she should be able to do this herself, and she was a teacher of others, and she had these abilities. I mean, as the body releases these energetic blocks, there's often physical body movement, involuntary body movement that occurs, when I'm working with someone. And I'll tell you what, this woman was releasing in her hands, in her lower abdominal area, in her legs, and especially in her feet and knees. Those areas that get blocked up when we're needing to move forward the most. The areas in the abdominal self related to stuck emotions, in the root chakra area that govern our stability and security and safety matters, our knees and our feet that help our stability and keep us moving forward. She had incredible blocks there. And I got 2 messages from her last night about how grateful she was and how much better she felt for the work that we did because I answered the call. I drove hours out of my way to go and see her just because I knew that I was supposed to. Within minutes of talking to her, I offered to help her, and she, blessed be, accepted. And now she can move forward with a little bit more confidence, greater ease in her daily activities, knowing that those releases, took care of a significant portion of that. Now, when someone's working with me, it's typically, for most people, a 3-session process. But just to get the ball rolling so that someone starts feeling better in the moment is one of the most important parts. Now, I had another lady get a hold of me early in the summer, and she felt that she had a lot to say and that she wanted to help others by sharing not just her story, but her wisdom accumulated along the way. And we kept talking about that, and we worked together 3 different times over the course of the summer. And then the last 2 afternoons, she's chosen to step into the process of universal integration, where once I've cleared the blocks in the emotional body, which of course clears a lot of the blocks in the physical body, then very specifically, I direct this bandwidth of energy, light, and frequency into different points and lines in and on and around the body, and balance the body, connect the meridians and the body into the ley lines of the earth, and further into the universal grid system that we talked about in our last show, Pat. And when we were done, she looked at me at one point with tears in her eyes, and she says, "You don't know what you've awakened. I am so blessed." And "watch out, world" was another comment that I heard, because she felt that connection all of a sudden. She had that empowerment. She knew she could fulfill the mission she was here to do, which is empowering women to move forward like I'm helping people do and step into their full authenticity. It's a beautiful process. And if you want to learn more about that, you can go to my website, SourceLightIntegrations.com. There's a tab in the middle of the first page called Ascension, where it talks about universal integration and what that type of a process is all about.
Wow. Thank you so much for today. Thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for encouraging all of us to do the same. I want to thank you for all of that. Please, love to know your personal message. What would you like to share with us today?
It's all about finding balance. And you only find balance by releasing the blocks that are holding you from stepping into the fullness of yourself. And I'm here to help you with that. You can simply go to my website, SourceLightIntegrations.com, and schedule some time with me to talk about where you're at, where you think you want to go, and how maybe we can work together to get you there.
I love it. Thank you so much for all that you do. Thank you all for tuning us in and turning us on. Everybody out there, one more time, what is the website that folks can go to find out more about you?
SourceLightIntegrations.com.
Oh, wow. Hey, everybody, we're going to take a short break. Another hour coming up right here on Transformation Talk Radio.
You've been listening to SourceLight Radio, high frequency healing for an amazing life with host Laura Barton. Thank you. And we hope you join us next month on Transformation Talk Radio as Laura explores the concept and application of SourceLight integration, bringing balance, shifts in consciousness, and instantaneous healing. For more information about Laura and her work, or listen to past shows, visit her website at SourceLightIntegrations.com.